Well, I want to welcome you all to this course. And I was going to make this funny joke about did anyone get lost on their way to class this morning? Because the navigation is so different when you get on the site, especially if you have been using Boost or if you're using Snap, it probably looks quite a bit different as well. Um, so there's been lots of buzz about Moodle 4.0, and we're going to get talking about why that is. I'm going to introduce myself and have Jaslyn introduce herself so you know who we are. My name is Amy Tessitore. I'm the Senior Manager of Education and Adoption and Education Services for OpenLMS. Forgot my title for a minute. I primarily oversee teams in the U.S. and Latin America, and then I also help to cover Europe and the Mediterranean as well as needed. And our team focuses on helping clients to get the most out of their site, so leverage all of the tools there for their use case. And we also handle all of the education, so things through OpenLMS Academy and all of the training, which is why you are seeing us here tonight. I have been working with Moodle and Moodle-based systems for going over a decade now. So I have seen them all the way back from the early twos. I think the first site I worked on was a 2.2 or 2.4 site in the Wayback Machine. And things have progressed quite a bit. And this is the biggest UX change that I've seen in Moodle ever, and all of the changes that I've seen over time. It's the most dramatic. And so we're doing this course because I know that people have a lot of questions and they wanted to kind of see things. And if you are someone who needs to make a decision about whether you will upgrade in December or July, this is perfect because you can see what you would be upgrading to. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute, but I'm going to have Jaslyn introduce herself and then we'll kind of jump into the course.
Thanks, Amy. So I'm the Manager of Adoption and Education here in Australia. So my experience with Moodle spans about 10 years as well. I started at a local company called NetSpot, who then were acquired by Blackboard. And I did a lot of service delivery management there. I managed the service delivery team and also the client engagement team. So very familiar with the adoption and education tasks that we tend to do with webinars and training and that sort of thing. I did take a break for a few years there. I worked with CSIRO in education and outreach. I worked on a really exciting STEM education program to try and encourage, girls to go into STEM subjects and STEM careers and things like that. And then, as history does, it repeats itself. And I saw an opening back at OpenLMS and decided to throw my hat in the ring for it. And here we are back again, which is really great. Nice to be working with some of the people and new staff that I haven't met before and some of the clients that we used to work with as well. So great to be back.
Awesome. Thanks, Jaslyn. All right. So, what's new in 4.0? Well, quite a bit, especially if you're using the Boost theme. I'm going to start this by saying if you've been using the Snap theme, you will not see the navigational, the UX changes in Snap that you are seeing here. So Snap and Boost are just two different themes. Boost is the theme that Moodle HQ develops, and it comes as part of Core. So it's one of the two themes that ship as part of Core. The theme on the site is a Boost-based theme called Learner. And the reason we're using that is because Learner has a blocks feature that lets us put our product catalog where we want it. But there really are not significant differences between Learner and Boost. Learner is based off of Boost. It just kind of adds that little block functionality. But we will be comparing between this site and a site that's completely on Boost so that you can see if there's any differences. They're really not very noticeable to most people. So Snap is another theme that's completely developed by OpenLMS. That theme was brought about, I think, around 2015. And the purpose of Snap was to address all of the shortcomings or the wants and needs of people who were using Moodle. They wanted certain features. And so we developed Snap to offer those features and develop those features. So we have not changed Snap for the 4.0 release. If you're using it, it will look exactly the same. You'll get some of the new features in terms of like things that we find inside activities and things like that. But the wide UX changes you wouldn't see. Now, if you have been on the fence about whether or not you want to stick with Snap or move to another theme, this is a good way to do a comparison. The Snap that you see on your current site, you'll keep, and then this is what Boost would look like. So I'd just like to kind of set that up as a preface that is the big difference here. So we've heard a lot about 4.0 and the UX changes, and obviously right from the time you logged into the site, you probably noticed looks a lot different than if you've been using Boost. So Boost on 311 right now, you have your navigation drawer on the left. You've got some blocks maybe down the right-hand side, and those blocks are static. You can't collapse them, so they kind of take up some space, which makes all of the content a bit cluttered in the center. You're looking here at our course, What's New in 4.0, and the first thing you're going to notice, content takes the stage. So the content is right out in front, and that's true everywhere that you go on the site right now. So for example, when I log in, and we talk about like the overall site changes, I now have 3 places I could land when I log in. Currently, you have 2, Site Home and Dashboard. In 4.0, Site Home has been renamed Home, and we still have the ability to configure that. So if we go to the home area, what I have here is I have like a little blurb about the Open LMS Academy. I have my courses shown here. In this case, on my site home, my courses are in a list format, but we can actually also put them in like a course tile format. And I am just going to bring up my other site so that you can see that. Let's see, it's going to load in just a second there. Okay. Give 1 second to bring that up. Okay. Bring it on over here. Okay. So this is a completely Boost-based theme here with almost no formatting going on in the background, lots of white space. Here we've gone back to that list for courses. We've got them all in here. And you can see big differences here. I don't have a background image on this one. You can absolutely put one in. And this area in the center is actually a little bit smaller. So the content area is a little bit smaller on traditional Boost compared to here, where it's much larger. Now, 2 things to know about Boost. One, you could use it straight like this and not make many changes to it and just kind of change a couple colors and add your logos and it would be, look like this. Or you can still make changes. So you can still add a background image. You can absolutely change whatever you want in the CSS. But we have 2 Boost presets now. So these are 2 theme presets that we will show you here on the site as we go. And the preset does some things like makes the course cards if we want them to be course cards, and it adds like a background color to the banner and different things like that. We have those stock. We're happy to share them with you if you want to try them out on your site. So this time around, we built some presets that you can use. There's some pretty cool ones. We're pretty happy with some of them. So if I come over in my site administration over here, and I'll tell you a little funny story. Yesterday when we were doing this course, I logged on here and this whole site looked totally different than it had in the morning. I couldn't figure out what was happening. And then we found out that another team member was changing the theme because she was making screenshots. So we we just kept switching the theme back and forth on each other in the middle of everyone doing their work. Fun time. So let's look at what happens when we change one of the presets here for Boost. It'll take just a second to load there. There we go. Go ahead, Khadijah.
Hey, quick question for you. With the CSS, will that carry over from our current site to 4.0?
A lot of it will. So if you already have your color codes in there, they will
Yeah.
come right across. So when we updated the Academy site, we did not have to do much. Almost everything was there. We just added a preset.
Okay.
So, yep, it did come over. Some of the additional HTML doesn't necessarily come through, but you don't always need it now because those things
Okay.
are kind of addressed
Gotcha.
naturally.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. That's a great question because that was my fear when we upgraded Academy. How much
Yeah.
theme work would we need to do? And we did almost none.
Yeah,
so
my
you
team
can
was talking about that today, but we wasn't sure if it was addressed on the open LMS meeting. So I was like, let me join tonight just
let's
to
find
know.
out. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so here you can see that I did this preset. All I did was switch from a preset that we have pre-built. I didn't have to do anything. I just put it on the site. And now the background color for my banner is different. I have this this image here coming down. I now have course cards instead of a list. In the course card, what you'll see are, the course title, who the teacher is. If you have a course image, you're going to see it here. So in this computer applications, we have that background image. Down here in a site course, we have this, and our writing course has another image. The other thing is you can bring in the course style now. So if this is an online course or a face-to-face or a hybrid, you can indicate that in a course field that will show up on your course card. So back over to where I was, I have my courses listed right now in a list format that gives me like a whole long, all of the like description. And then for ones where I don't have a description, it's just a link. So very plain over here on this site. But I quick application of the preset. And over here, I now have these. I have these nice course cards. One thing to notice is that the course cards actually, what I like about them is, so in the top row, they're all the same height, same width. Second row, I have this English course that has more content in that's displayed there. So those course cards are larger, but everything that's in line with that English course is also larger. So they're all scaled to the same size. And down below, I have two that don't have a lot of information and they have scaled down and they are the same size. So every so often previously when we did course cards, they would all end up like slightly different sizes based off of what was in them, or they didn't scale to display all the information. That is now fixed. So if we are using these presets, we have all of the stuff for course cards. So this is home now. Other things to know about home, you can configure it. So as you see over here, we have a little like brief opening and intro. We added that. Then we have blocks. This is the My Courses block. And if I come further down, I have site announcements. On my other site, I have the course search at the top, then My Courses. Then if I scroll down on this particular site, I display all of the course categories. These things are completely up to you what you want to display here. And when you're on this page, you can turn editing on, but now editing is this super cool toggle switch in the upper right-hand corner. So previously, if you're on a Boost theme, you could have had one of three ways to turn editing on. You might have had a button in the header. You might have had an editing cog off to the side that you had to click and click turn on editing, or you had a big turn on editing button. Now you have this toggle switch for edit mode. When it's toggled on, the background color changes and the little button slides over to one side. When I turn it off, the background color is not there anymore, and the toggle button moves to the left. As you can see right out here on Site Home, I can edit things. I can add activities or resources. I have lots of stuff that I can do here. I also, when I'm here at the home area, if I click this little cog, this is where I can put in the summary of my site. So if I wanted to have like a summary, an overall site summary, I could do that. And that could show here. It might also show on my login screen. So customizing this is actually pretty easy in terms of what we're adding. We also control the different blocks and things that are displayed here through that front page setting in the site admin tree. Same place we always did, where we could say for the authenticated user on the front page, that means someone who has logged in, this is what I want them to see. My courses, the search courses box, and we can order how we want them to go. So you can put as much or as little on Site Home as you want. Now, when we are all done, we can just turn editing off here. Dashboard also looks a little bit different. Now, dashboard is a common place that people are landing right now. And the reason is this was the place where if you landed on it, there were your My Courses, and it was kind of easy for people. On my dashboard, again, I am using IntelliCart. So I have the slideshow of featured things that we have running. And that's the first thing that I have on my dashboard here. And then I have my available products. And if I keep scrolling, I have timeline and calendar. Now, timeline and calendar are really the big showstoppers here on dashboard. And here's why. Timeline, it's just front and center. It used to kind of be off in a little block if you were using it and not so visible. Timeline will show everything that someone has due for all of their courses if those things have a due date. So if I had an assignment due this weekend in a forum that I had to post to by Sunday night, they would actually show here and it would tell me the course, what the activity is, and exactly when it's due in a clickable link format. So if I click it, it automatically go to that activity. And here's why I really like this. Being someone who is enrolled in online school myself and have been apparently like almost my entire adult life at this point, I feel like, just going to keep going to school. One thing that has happened to me, even as an adult, is I have logged in and completely forgotten like what day I was on, logged in, saw something on my timeline that said this is due tonight. Thankfully, that reminder was there because it is very easy to get your days mixed up or to forget that you had something due. This is one of the features that I like to recommend when we talk about student success strategies or learner success strategies, even when we're talking professional development. same situation. Having something right out there in front of people very clear that they can see helps them to prioritize what they need to do and work out their schedule. The other thing about timeline is that I can show things that are overdue. I can show things just for the next 7 days, 30 days, and whatever filter I pick, that's what sticks for me. So if I am someone who is always wanting to look at my month in advance, I could set that to 30 days. I could even go as high as 6 months if I wanted to. I can sort by date or by course. So I can see that in order of when things are due or course by course. And that's something I can completely do. I can also search by activity type. So if I had a forum due and I was like, I'm pretty sure I have a forum, but I don't remember what class, I could type forum here and it will show me all of the forums that I have upcoming and due. So now I'm able to look by the actual name of an activity or the type. I think that's super cool. Here I do have the course overview block, and then I have the calendar down below. Now, calendar, while I love calendar, it has historically been a little wonky to try to use. So it used to be I had to click on the month in order to get to the page to edit or add events. And that used to make me, it was a point of frustration for me. I don't have to do that anymore. Now I have the option to add a new event right from here. Now, over here on my dashboard here, I already have an event. I have a new event here on the 23rd, and I did that just by clicking Add New Event. So here, let's see. Let's say I'm going to go apple picking this weekend. And I've decided I am going to put this on my personal user calendar here. I do have the option of creating things just for me. That's user. Or for a course, a category, or site level. I like site level. So if I'm going to have downtime, I can put it right there. Hey, we have a maintenance window. Or if we're talking about we need everybody to log into the site and update something in their profile by a certain date, I can put it there on the calendar. If I have registration coming up, I can actually put it on the calendar site wide. Or as a teacher, when I'm building things out, creating activities, if I put a due date, they're automatically going to go on the calendar. If I have a date that I need someone to do something by and there's not an associated activity, I can just create an event like this. So I'm going to say, there we go, apple picking. I'm going to add that to my calendar here. And there it is on the 19th. But you know what? I'm not going apple picking today. I'm actually going on Saturday. I'm going to click and drag that over. I can click and drag to move things on the calendar. And here's why this is important. If this were an activity in a course, let's say it was an assignment, and I had put it on and I logged in and I was like, oh my gosh, the assignment's not due today. I could click and drag that assignment to the date it's due, and the due date in the actual assignment itself will automatically update based on where I've dragged the assignment on the calendar. This goes for anything that you create. So we don't have to go back into the assignment, edit the settings, edit the date, save. We can just click and drag it on the calendar and it will auto update. Other things to know about the calendar, obviously much larger, easier to see, easier to use. I can go back a month, forward a month if I need to. And down below, I have the option to look at the full calendar, which is going to give me a full view of the calendar now, full page view. Can still add things, I can look at it, and I have that option to import or export calendars. And here's why I like that. I obviously am involved in lots of different Moodle things, and some of them actually involve using external Moodle sites where I have actual activities due. So I can export that calendar and import it right to my Google Calendar, and now everything is on one calendar. So I can export my Moodle calendar if I'm any user on the Moodle site. I can export it and link it to my primary electronic calendar that I use, whether it's Google or Outlook or the one that's standard on your iPhone, or if you're using an Android, I imagine that you have something very similar. So these are some of the big changes to Dashboard, is having that timeline and calendar block there. They'll be there by default. You can add other blocks when you make your dashboard. So same thing in our site admin settings, we have the ability to customize the dashboard. Remember that if you customize from here, your dashboard, that doesn't customize for the whole site, but the page that you'll actually navigate to in the site admin tree looks exactly the same. So you just want to make sure that you go into that through site admin, and then you are editing what's called the default dashboard. And then Once you edit it, you can click to reset for everyone, and it will change everyone's dashboard to whatever you created. People still have that ability to customize their dashboard if they'd like to. So if I were to turn on edit mode at the top, I will have the ability to customize my own personal dashboard if there are other things that I want to add within reason. So I'm an admin, I can add anything. Not every role has that ability. Unless you have a site-wide role like admin, your role here on the dashboard is what's called the authenticated user. So once people are logged in, until they pick up their role, like a student and teacher that's assigned at the course level, if you have a site role, your role starts as soon as you log in. So whatever the authenticated user has permissions to do on the dashboard, that's what they'll be able to do here. You as an admin will always have more permissions. So I'll turn editing off there. The other place that people can land when they come in is this My Courses area. So when we land at My Courses, this is similar to what we used to have on the dashboard. And on my own sites, I need to remove the My Courses from the dashboard because I don't need it there anymore. My Courses means that when people land, all they see is their courses. There are no other things here cluttering the page for them. This means that this solves that problem that we often ask about, which is when people log in, they have to make so many clicks to get to their actual course. And this is obviously something we'd like to avoid. And all along, people have asked, how can we make it so that when someone logs in, they only need one click after that to get to their dashboard, to their courses? This is how. We can have them land on My Courses, and when they come in, they can see their courses, one click to get into whatever course they'd like. Again, with this preset, I am seeing these course cards here. I also, for these courses, have my % completion listed on them. I still can filter. So I can still filter like I did on my previous dashboard to look at just in progress, future, past. But now I can also filter for course type. So if I've put in a course style, I could say, I only want to see my blended courses. And I've got one there. Or I only want to see my online courses. And there's one. Or I can come back to all. People still have the ability also to come in here and star a course, or they can archive the course, which means that it will be moved off of their dashboard. They will not see it, and they'll search for it under the archive area. Now, here's what I like about this. First of all, these two are flip-flopped. Previously, there was like a hide or remove this course is actually what it said, remove this course. And people would accidentally click that all the time, and then they could not find anything. And they would think they deleted it forever because remove the course sounds like you've just completely deleted this course. Lots of panic. So I like that we've changed the name here, and we're down to two options, star and archive. And if I choose either one of these, I now can look at starred and archived courses here. So there are those courses I've archived already. If I want to unarchive, I can do so and bring them back. And then go back and look at all my courses. The only thing here is your courses. And you can sort this by last accessed or by course name. So I love this because when I used to teach and I had like years worth of courses because we weren't using end dates and we weren't closing courses at the place that I was adjuncting, it could sometimes get difficult for me to find things. And I would just want to search by course name so that I could find stuff. And now I can, or I can go by last accessed, which I absolutely love when I'm working to prep for my next semester. I've closed out this semester and I just want to see the ones I've been in most recently. I can change the display here on my courses. I can have a card. I can go with list, or I can go with summary. Summary is like list, but it's going to bring in any like descriptions that you have. Obviously, this makes your card image look crazy and it can be very long. So I don't think a lot of people choose this, but I think that we are definitely seeing a nicer display here with list. One of the things that people often would talk about was that when in list mode previously, the course image was tiny and very difficult to see. Now it's sized appropriately and matches the box that the whole course sits in, and it also scales. So when we are in list here, like that writing image is actually quite large and it scales down to fit. Or we can go with cards. And this is something I can do individually, but you can also set what that default looks like for people if it's going to be cards or it's going to be list. On our own site here, if we go to my courses, you can see very similar. I only have 2 courses over here. And again, I can go by card or I can go by list. And in this case, this What's New in 4.0 image is actually poorly sized for what we're trying to display here. So it still looks a little strange, but everything else scales. And even when I came into list, it did scale down and I can see more of it. Once I am here, again, I still have those same options to star or remove. And then when I, am here in anything, I can enter my courses. So let's pop into this 311 course here. And on our own site, we are in our What's New in 4.0 course. Now, a couple of things. You'll see this arrow over here at the top. This is actually a blocks curtain where I can add other blocks. So if I want to add the calendar, I can put it in the curtain at the top. Or I have this super cool blocks drawer now off to the side. And in here, I can put my blocks. And when I open the drawer, the center content area scales. So it gets a little smaller. I can find my block stuff. And then I can close this. The other cool thing, the blocks drawer scrolls independently of the course now. So if I need to find something in the block and it's like way down in my blocks drawer, I actually am not going to move the entire course with me. I can move just the blocks drawer. I love this. In here for blocks, we have our accessibility review block because we're going to demo that later in this course. The random glossary entry block because Michael Vaughn, my colleague who is also teaching sections of this course, he has built a glossary that says, that tells you like, here's where something used to be and here's where it is now. So you can just look at that to help you memorize where things are. And then I like to use the activities block here and it shows me all the different activities I am using in the course. Probably one thing you're noticing too is we have some very different icons and we're going to talk a little bit about that, more about that next week. So these are like the major changes. Other things that you'll notice under the site administration menu, that's moved. That's up in the header bar now, and that used to be in the left-hand navigation drawer. But the left-hand navigation drawer has disappeared. It is no longer. We no longer have a nav drawer there. We have something called a course index. It's actually pretty cool. We're going to look at it in just a minute. We're going to talk a lot more about it next week. But what you're going to notice at the top is we have home, dashboard, my courses, site admin, and I have IntelliCart because I have that on my site. Those first 4 are going to be default on every single Boost site going forward. You can add other things. So if you were someone who had like other resources in the top that would drop down, like I can think people often will have like student services up there or other external things or links to things. You can still put those up here in the header and still use them. We have them over here. Like we have our link to our website and our link out to our academy that we've also added to the header here. So site admin is now accessed through the top header. Everywhere you go on the site, this header stays with you. So no more having to go over to the nav drawer, open it, and get dashboard, home, and scroll to the bottom for site admin. You'll always have it at the top here. Once you are in the site admin menu, not a whole lot changes except for this, which is probably one of my favorite things. So now I'm in here in that manage courses and categories area. And so previously I'd have to open the category and then look for the courses and then click on the subcategory to get the list of courses at the bottom. But now I can filter. I can show courses and categories or just courses. And then once I pick that, I can then filter by the individual categories and subcategories to just get a list of the courses right there. So I don't have to click, scroll, and come all the way to the bottom. So that is all here now. We can filter as we look at that manage courses and categories page. The other thing you're going to see is I'm in here in the category. I have my settings for the category. I have my category level recycle bin, which is a lifesaver when we accidentally delete a course. Hopefully we don't do that too often. It does empty every 7 days. So just keep in mind, if you deleted a course like 8 days ago, you won't see it. But if it was just a couple days ago, it would be there in recycle bin. And then we have this more option down here where we can see access to other things. Most common things: permissions, cohorts, filters, restoring a course if we need to, learning plans, and competency frameworks. We can get to those super easily from anywhere in the site admin tree now because they sit right out here. I'm here, and so anytime I need to come back to site admin, I can just click at the top. and then I can kind of navigate around. So, when I have added users, if I need to browse or add a new list, this bar right here stays while I'm navigating through. So it's easy for me to jump to other branches a little bit easier than it has been. What you see in here and the functions you have here don't change a whole lot. Um, but there are a couple of features that you might want to know about. So in the site admin menu, under plugins. Now, if you are a former eThink client, I don't think anyone here is, but if you were a former eThink client, you will not see all the branches in the site admin menu because you have a role called client admin. But for those of you who were historic eCreators or OpenLMS clients, now that we're all one big happy family of 3 companies, you have always had full admin and you will be able to see all of these. But for example, if I come into assignment and I go to assignment settings, let me find it in here. There is a cool new feature where I can enable timed assignments. We are going to talk about this from the teaching perspective, but from the admin perspective, the default is that this is turned off. So you'll want to tick this on. What this does is make it so that when a facilitator or teacher creates an assignment, they can put a time limit on it, just like you can with quiz. So now if I wanted to use an assignment for like a final paper or a reflection, and I wanted to give people 30 minutes or 60 minutes on that assignment, I can actually set that now. So instead of where before I'd be like, this assignment opens at noon and it closes at 1 to make that work, I can say this assignment is open for Wednesday. Once you start it, you have 60 minutes to finish it. And much like a quiz at the very end, it will submit. So that is a cool new feature. That's one that you would enable here on the site admin menu. Other things are in some of the themes, you can turn off that course index. And I mentioned that a couple times already, the course index. And this thing here is the course index. So this used to be our nav drawer, and now we have this cool course index. 2 things. One, well, there's 3 really. 1, this is every single item I have in this course. And when I click on it here, it will automatically redirect the content area to that specific item. Now, you'll notice there's a green dot or a solid dot next to this, an introduction to your whatever the full thing is that it says. The activity completion for activities will automatically show up here in the course index. So if I've been working through the course and I forgot where I left off, I can come in and very easily see what I have and have not completed yet right through the course index. It is pulling in the completion criteria that you enable in the different activities. Completion criteria got updated in 3.11. The display got updated in 3.11. It was a little, it brought in the foundation for what we see in 4.0. So in 3.11, the criteria got housed right under the activity name, which made things a little bulky. It's since been moved out from under the activity name and is off to the right now. So if we come right up here to the course, you'll see that as I look at things, here are my activities. Activity completion options are off to the right now. So if I needed to mark that, mark as done, I can mark that I've completed that. And now, there it is. It updated automatically over here in my course index. Coming down, for things that I mark as done, again, it'll auto update. Things that I've met the completion criterion for will automatically update both on the page and tell me it's done, as well as over here in the course index. So this is kind of a nice feature. So 1, everything is a clickable link in course index. 2, activity completion is reflected here. But here's my absolute favorite thing. I'm going to turn editing on. So I'm building out my course and I have lots of stuff, and I realize the video transcript is actually above the place that I wanted it. I don't want it there. I want it down here. I can click and drag in the course index, and that has automatically been updated over here in the course. So there's my video transcript. Let's say I wanted to move it back up again. Just going to move it up, and it auto reorders in the course itself. So in the content area, anything I click and drag to move over here in the course index will automatically reorder in the content area. And the reason I like this is because when you have a lot of content, you are typically doing one of 2 things: trying to click and drag and then try to scroll and get it in the right place, and it never did. Or you were double clicking on the crosshair and hoping that it let you nest it in the one place you wanted. And for me, I never found that place. Like it was always putting it somewhere different. But now I have a lot more control over moving things around and reordering them right through the course index. So those are primarily the things that we are covering this week in this course. I am going to click in here. Oh, wrong course. Let me come to site admin again and get back into our actual course. There we are. So that's a lot of what we're covering this week, mostly the site level changes. Next week, we're going to get into the course level UX changes. So big things that you see in the course itself. We will also talk next week about things like other enhancements that we see. So changes to activities, changes to the activity chooser, changes to these icons that you see here that we typically find in the activity chooser. And you're starting to notice they're all kind of, there's some common colors there. If you've requested your sandbox course and you've gone to add an activity yet, you're going to notice that there's primarily 4 colors now for icons. They're grouped together. We have assessment icon, we have assessment options, we have collaboration options, and those are all the same color. So you will start to notice that the background color on all of those is customizable, and that can be changed. They're just hex color codes. So you can put in whatever hex code you want for the color for the background of these icons. You can change them. They are still by group though. So I can't like uncouple assignment and quiz from having the same color. They're going to have the same color because they're both considered assessment, but I can absolutely customize the color in the background. My personal advice there is look carefully. There is one icon that is pink, and that contrast is not great. And so if you are someone doing an accessibility audit, the pink color might flag. It's kind of it's like a deep pink, but it could be problematic. So that may be one of the classes of activities that you want to change the color for. But all of that can be changed right in appearance. So no issues there. It's a pretty quick and easy fix and change. So yeah, keep your eye out too. Like if you're an admin, as we get closer to the upgrade date and we have people who've opted in for December or July, when we get closer to those dates, we will hold an admin version of this course where we go through, here's where you change things for appearance, here's how you upload those presets, here's how we change like these items, here's some features you might want to enable. So once you make a decision about whether you will upgrade in December or you will upgrade in July, what will happen is we will reach out and we will make sure that as admins, you know that that admin course is coming too. That will probably be a one-off webinar. So like not a course like this. We'll probably go through a 1-hour webinar where we go through all of those. We'll just offer that webinar multiple times. Other things I want to tell you about. You will need to make a decision about if you want to opt out of December and upgrade in July. You'll need to make that decision. I think the date is November 1st. You do not have the option to upgrade your sandbox in December and then not upgrade your production site. And that question has come up a couple times, so I did just want to address that. The reason there is there's too great, in our opinion, there was too great a risk that someone would upgrade the sandbox, decide at the last minute or so they didn't want to upgrade production, and we accidentally upgrade production because so many moving parts. So that was kind of the reason we pushed this course as quickly as we did, so you can see what the course changes are. Feel free if you are wanting to like create a couple, if you wanted to start to use the site to take screenshots or things like that to be able to build some of your resources, absolutely feel free to do that. We will have some video libraries as well that will be published to you. They're going to be playlists on YouTube where you'll be able to look at the different videos. We'll have one that's a learner focused one. So for people who are learners on your site or participants on your site, what it looks like for them, what changes there are, like where do I find my grades now because that's changed a little bit, things like that. We will have one from the admin perspective that just shows you a couple of those screenshots of like new features for filtering courses and categories, some of the common features you might want to change, quick things about where you add a preset or how to add a logo. And then we'll of course have one from teaching and learning. Every video in the video library will probably be 3 minutes or less. Might have a couple that go to 5. I get a little wordy, but they will be very short videos and you'll be able to add them to your own resource places. So you'll be able to just grab the share link, pop them in and have a little video resource library for people as well. So all of those things are coming. The knowledge base and the guide will get updated as well, so that by time you upgrade, whether it is in December or July, you will have a full suite of resources to help support you through that. But make sure that you do, if you know that you want to opt out of the December upgrade and instead you want to stay on 311 until July, make sure that you fill out that form that we emailed. If you didn't get the form, just email me, send me a message through the site, and I will make sure that you get a copy of that. If you do opt out, you will go to 4.1 in July instead. Go ahead, Khadijah.
So, hypothetically, if we waited till July, let's say, God forbid, something breaks, are we out of luck between that December and July period to get anything fixed, or how does that work?
That's an excellent question. So we will do security patches all the way through. If there is a major bug or a bug fix, those will get applied. There will not be any plugin updates. So it won't be any new features or updates in that sense. But if we find something that's like big, it breaks things, we will we will fix that. So
Okay.
so big things we're definitely going to fix, and all the security updates will go through. Also, like if there's sometimes if there's like a bigger bug that's actually a core bug and Moodle fixes it, we'll
Yeah.
backport that sort of stuff into the build system. Just
Yes.
no upgrades on like plugins and things.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you do upgrade in December, you will have your other, because we always do two big upgrades a year, one in December, one in July normally. We've never offered a full opt out of one of them. So if you do upgrade in December and July, you'll go right ahead onto 4.1 with everyone else as well. And we will talk about some of the cool features coming in 4.1, so you know what those are, because we have an idea of what some of those are. And some of those are things that complete some of new features, such as quiz and question bank, that will come in 4.0. All right. Are there other questions that I can answer, or what can I answer for you? Go ahead, Sarah.
Hi, I'm sorry I got here late. I'm a little confused about how this is going to affect Snap Theme. I was on the OpenLMS call earlier today, and I'm actually not our LMS admin, but I'm in teaching and learning, and I'm trying to figure out like how much do I need to pay attention to, how much do I need to ignore?
Yeah. So it will not change the Snap. The Snap theme will not change at all. You will get some of the new activity features, such as that timed piece in assessment, and some of the enhancements in question bank into quiz questions. There's some big changes and enhancements with statistics. Those things will come in, but the actual look and feel of the site will not change if you're using Snap.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarification.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Allison.
I was just curious, when will the recordings be available? Because I have a couple of people that were our managers I would love to hear this stuff.
So which ones? The ones for these webinars, or
like this
webinar?
series
Yeah.
tonight.
So in the morning, I will probably do them. So typically I try to get them up like within like an hour after we do the sessions, but the nighttime ones usually come in the morning. We'll get them all in there. In the book that we have, we'll do like week 1, and it will have all 3 webinar recordings. So like if you want to go in and see if different questions came up, you absolutely can. So look for those tomorrow to be posted in the course.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And if there are other people at your institution who you think might benefit from this course, we are running this course 5 times between now and the end of the year. This is section 1, section 2. So the second run of the course begins next week. Section 3 is the week after that. There is no charge for the course, no limit on who can take it. It's also, so if you know other Moodlers who are not one of our clients, they're free to come and take this course too. So this is open to everyone, no matter who they are, if they want to, come in and learn about Moodle 4.0. But if there are other people where you work who you think would benefit, definitely have them come sign up for this with us. All right. Well, that's all I have. I know most of you, it was a little late for you here. So thank you for coming and joining us. I hope I see you here next week. If you have not already done so, and I think you all have, come into the course here and make sure that up at the top, if you'd like to have a practice course on this site, so a sandbox course on this site, go ahead and click there and request one. I think most of you already have one. I think I approved them. There is an error. It says it will auto approve in 10 minutes, but that auto approve feature isn't really doesn't really happen anymore. So I go through a couple times a day and I approve all of those sandbox courses. So if you're waiting on one, I'll be approving more after this, but definitely request a course. You'll have that course to play with for the foreseeable future. I don't typically delete or hide or archive any of those sandbox courses until someone has been dormant for about a year on the site. That way, like if you ever come and take another course with us, you can use the same sandbox course. It'll always be there for you, but definitely request a practice course if you'd like one.
Where do you do that at, Amy?
So when you go into the course and you are scrolling down, you're going to come under Course Essentials. You have your webinar recordings, and then down there is a page that says Create Your Own Practice Course. When you click in here, there's a button where you can request it, and you'll have to give your course a name. It kind of takes you to like a partial course settings page. Just put your stuff in there, and then I will approve that course for you. And once I approve it, you're enrolled as a teacher in that course. So you will have all the rights and privileges of a teacher.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, I ran over by a little bit, and I do not want to hog up your time today and make you stay longer. So thank you all for being here. I hope I see you next week. If you have any questions at all, reach out to me, or in the course itself, we have the Raise Your Hand forum where people have already started posting. There are lots of, this is just from today. So there you go. And obviously I had like a little mix up with the videos, but we got all that fixed today. But yeah. So come right in here, ask questions. We are checking this frequently in here. We do have 170 people registered in this particular section. So you may see lots of things here in the Raise Your Hand forum, but don't worry, we will get to all of those questions. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your week. We're here if you need anything. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.